Welcome back to Benchmark. I'm Anshan Selvaraja. Now we're going to take a look at the issues pertaining to the tourism industry. And joining me is product head from Frontier Research, Travis Gomez. Welcome back to the show, Travis. Now, Sri Lanka is gathering a bit of a reputation in terms of scams which affect tourists, from three-wheeler scams to scams at ice gardens to ATM fraud to fake tour guides. Now, what are we doing? What is the industry doing or government doing to mitigate issues such as this? Because it sets a bad precedent in terms for our tourism, right?
Yeah, so this is something that is actually it is becoming more and more of an issue and something that we have to pay attention, because when you're a foreigner, or if you're like someone who is looking to come to a country, you would read up on like something about it. Now in the past it would have been you'd have like these brochures and all from the official, from the hotels or something, but now I mean mainly it's through blogs, but people have come to the country, they've written something on it, and typically there is some of the experiences. I mean, there are both positives and negatives, but some of the negatives that some of the foreigners who have come here have highlighted are these things like being harassed by like truck drivers, or like being overcharged and things like that. So definitely that's something to look into with the government. So one particular issue I know is with regard to tour guides, particularly in Colombo. There is a lack of like registered, or people. There doesn't seem to be a proper mechanism in terms of for the tour guides when it comes to in Colombo. So that's something to look at, because there's a lot of opportunity there. Because if we miss out on that, you can get like the situation where foreigners, or basically they themselves would come up with these things, because they might have a better sense in terms of catering to what that particular market wants. So if it's like a Chinese tour group, you might have one of the Chinese visitor who is actually conducting these things. So that's something we will lose out on, that opportunity, if we don't do it in a systematic way. So I mean, similar to the way we have it in Anuradhapura and Seagrave, where you have like licensed guides. I think you can have like a democratic process, but I think there has to be some control in terms of making sure that people are not getting scammed by this.
Right. Now, the first impression of a country that a tourist gets is our national carrier, or an airline. But our airline has been running at a loss for a number of years now, in billions of rupees. Now, what other ways can we do to improve the impression, the first impression that tourists get when they come into this country?
Yeah, particularly with the national carrier, there's been a lot of talk about this in terms of the quality of the service and all that. So that's something to look into. But I mean, at the same time, given the sort of the financial woes that are surrounding Sri Lankan, it's I mean, it's kind of like a bit of a difficult situation to correct. So one thing that we could do is try to essentially open it up to more airlines, in terms of more budget airlines, because at a recent forum, one of the CEOs who have invested in the hotel industry has been talking about, basically if you look at other countries that have seen this huge growth like Thailand, Malaysia, I mean part of that success was because they promoted budget airlines, and that's one thing that that really facilitates in terms of the numbers and in terms of the, because when it comes to budget airlines, you kind of know what you're getting into it, and given the type of the profile of the tourists that are coming here as well, we are catering to a lot of that market as well. So actually opening up to more budget airlines would, I mean, it would kind of improve in terms of like getting more tourists from those areas to come to Sri Lanka as well. So I think that's one possible thing to look into.
Sustainability is the next question, Travis. Now, we need to protect what we're trying to promote. Tourism being one of the largest foreign exchange earners for this country, and we dire need this foreign exchange. Shouldn't we be doing more to protect our national parks and our nature reserves? Because there are a number of hotels that have been built in the buffer zones of our national parks, with more to come along in the pipeline.
Yeah, that's definitely a question, because I mean, if you look at, I mean, there's plenty of like a lot of stories about there's overcrowding happening at Seagrave, and like these traffic jams of like vehicles and things like that. So I think some of those recent attempts that they took in terms of like trying to like limit the number of vehicles and all, I think that's a positive thing. At the same time, what they should do is try to like broad base in terms of the locations that if you take like national parks, I think we have like over 30, but everyone's just concentrated in these very few places, because I think one is the hotel operators themselves, the tour operators haven't really tried to like diversify this. So I think at a particular panel, one of these tour operators were talking about that the sort of the agenda that is given for someone who comes on a package tour to Sri Lanka, it has not changed in like the last 20-30 years. It's like the same locations you go to every time. So it hasn't really changed, and Because if you can kind of make it more broad based, then you can sort of spread that development around, and you can also ease the pressure on these locations. At the same time, there's also, I mean, you can do some investment, like some minimal investments to kind of improve those situations, to sort of like limit the overcrowding. So like a place like Sigiriya, you can have sort of like, if you are like going to climb the rock, you'd have like a timed entry or things like that, so that you can minimize those barriers, because by doing that also, then you can increase the number of visitors overall as well. If you take like in most countries, I mean, a lot of these, I mean, the number of visitors they are able to expand is like on a much higher magnitude, but still they don't really seem to have this like major overcrowding sort of issues compared to if you look at the numbers we have versus the incidences of this overcrowding.
Thank you very much for joining us, Travis.
Again, thank you.
That was Product Head of Frontier Research, Travis Gomez. Thank you for watching Benchmark, and we hope to see you again next time.